Hi guys, Alicia May here, and today is a little bit of a different one. It's actually one that I've kind of been putting off for a while. This video is of course just my experience, my opinion, and what I want to tell you, as you can see by the title as well, is just kind of how things have evolved, how things have changed when it comes to schools, but also maybe give you an insight of what it's like to be a bilingual teenager, what it's like to be at school as well, because there can be some difficulties when it comes to education. Actually did quite a good job at the end when it comes to learning and so on. I have decided to make story time series, so this is part 1. And as some of these stories may be difficult to talk about, I might not share every little detail of what I experienced. I think there's going to be a lot of people who can relate to me and they will understand exactly where I'm coming from and what I'm talking about. But there can also be people who might not have gone through stuff like this and will be like, oh, you're just such a crybaby or whatever. Well, get off my video then. But all I ask for is respect and just to listen. Maybe you might understand a little bit better what it's like, and maybe if you want to bring up your children bilingual, you'll know how to converse, how to talk to your children about the possibilities, of course, like if they get bullied because they can't speak a certain language completely correctly. I've already made a video about being bilingual itself, so I will link that in the description below if you want to see that. For those who don't know, I am half English, half Polish, and I moved to Poland when I was a kid. And at the beginning it actually was, it was okay. I went to preschool quite late though, so that also meant I started speaking Polish a little bit later. At home I would usually speak English, and at the moment when I'm just with my family, we speak Ponglish, half English, half Polish. My main problem at the very beginning was translating from English straight to Polish. I'll think about a sentence in English and then translate it straight into Polish. So as you can guess, it wasn't usually correct. And the endings also were a little bit of a problem for me. So I needed some extra time to write tests or essays and so on, which I didn't always get. So at the very beginning, sometimes I would get worse grades because of that, and of course that made me feel a little bit worse than all the other children. One of my best friends is half American, half Polish, and I remember thinking, oh my goodness, like she has straight A's, how is she doing that? She was one of the best students, and there I was, with my worst grades, and I was thinking, why am I so stupid? The thing is, everybody's going to react differently, everybody is going to take things in differently, so to speak. So for example, some people will find one language easier than the other. When I was writing when I was writing my diary, for example, a lot of it is in Polish. But when I read it, I can see that, the structure is very English. And then I was just translating it into Polish. But it's funny because I did that to practice my Polish. I also signed up for the school newspaper, which actually helped me so much because I had a lovely Polish teacher and she helped me get a lot better at writing and understanding things. So I would write about my culture, so to speak, like what I do for Christmas or what I would do for Easter and things like that, like the differences between England and Poland. And thanks to that, I got to write a lot. My papers were always full, in red ink, corrected. But at least I got my practice in. So that for sure is one step that you could take if you notice that your child is having trouble with translating things into different languages. So you can just, mention if they like writing anyway, it's perfect. Also, I always read all the books that we had to read for school. Literally always. I think I must have been one of the few that read them. Even up till I was in high school, I would still read all the books that we had to read for school. Actually, even when I was at university, because I got into the habit, I just read all the books we had to read. And that really helped me though, because then I could see the words written down as well. Another thing that I struggled with a little bit was vocabulary, and I just thought it would be okay to ask what it means. I was unfortunate in the meaning of having a few teachers who were bullies, and I had a few, of course, bullies in my class as well, if not most of them. Some of them are still good friends of mine now. I think I don't really want to talk negatively about people. I think they know that at school they weren't the best of friends. Outside of school, however, they were really nice friends, and that's why we are still friends today. I think that also kind of made me struggle with it. So it's not just the language, you see. Sometimes I would find people laughing at me because I didn't know something, so after a while, which wasn't actually great, I started to pretend that I would understand everything. And as you can guess, that wasn't the best of decisions. When I went to secondary school, I had a few more teachers who were open-minded and very kind and very helpful as well when it came to my education. So this is something that literally is a key. This is how I coped. I would focus on the teachers that I knew were helpful. I think another important thing, of course, is to confide in somebody. I did not do that. I still have a little bit of problem with telling people how I actually feel because of some of the things that happened at school. I was also asked very often to take part in English speaking competitions or English language competitions because I was expected to win, and then when I didn't win, again, they were quite mad at me. But I think it did actually help boost my confidence a little bit. So nowadays, of course, things have changed so much. I am actually an English teacher, and I have taught in English speaking schools and preschools, and I have noticed a major difference. It might also be the fact that I lived in Krakow by then as a teacher. And so, of course, it's a bigger city, there's lots of different people from different nationalities and so on. And I noticed that the students that would come in were a lot more confident, a lot more happier than I was back then. And having like a mixture of different cultures, different languages around you really opens your mind, opens your heart, and helps you so much. You want to go to maybe a country that you maybe don't know the language of yet, or one of the partner's country. Sorry, I can't speak well. I would recommend trying to get into like a community of different types of people so that your children can also open up and learn a lot more and be more open. And I think that would also help them mentally as well, so that for sure they would have somebody to confide in, because I am so grateful that I made a best friend who was also in a similar situation. She's half and half as well, and I got to talk to her in Ponglish as well, with her and her brother and her parents as well. So that was fantastic, and that's why we also spent so much time with them, and we'd like even have Christmas together and so on. So that was something that really helped me. And also we had some other friends who were from different countries as well. So diversify your surroundings as much as possible, and then your child won't feel like the odd one out. I also wasn't Catholic, so that was also maybe something new for them. I have a few of my best friends who are also not Catholic and went to schools, and they also had a little bit of problems because of their faith. For sure it's going to be a lot easier if you are in a city, because people are more open-minded than smaller places, because they have more diversity, right? There's lots of people coming in. One thing I wish I knew was that I had a superpower of speaking 2 languages. I feel like maybe if I was more confident, I would have been able to stop the bullies. I was more of an introvert when I was younger, so it was a little bit more difficult to actually speak up for myself. The main difficulty for me, I think, was the fact that I hated the fact that I was one of the few that had to write exams and tests longer than the others. And I felt like, oh, okay, she needs more time to think because she thinks slower. That's what they told me. Which, of course, as well, is another thing I think should be said to a child. So even if you do go to a therapist with your child, or if you want to help your child out, don't tell them that my therapist and my teachers told me that you think slower and that's why you need to have another exam or a longer exam. I would try to make sure you have conversations with the teachers of your child beforehand and help them understand a little bit more so that they don't, maybe not ruin, but so that they don't have a bad impact on your child. And I just want to say that if you are bilingual or if you are struggling at school, I just want you to know that you are amazing and you're doing great. So summing up, as you can see, I did not go into great detail, but what I would say is that I have had troubles when it comes to vocabulary, maybe grammatical structures, and opening up and learning the language. The fact that my parents made sure that I had a diverse community and that we went to England quite often, that was great because I could always feel like, okay, I've still got my people, so to speak. I would also help out my child in the future, or anybody's children, to read stories at home in different languages as well. See, I had a lot of English at home, which I'm super grateful for because, of course, thanks to my parents, I could write very early, I could read very early, and have a huge love for reading and writing till today. Watching programs in both languages as well is very helpful because, of course, I mean, watching programs, you don't want to watch too many, but at the same time it is very helpful because you're listening and you can see the image as well. So that's great. I coped by having friends, having diverse communities, having full love for reading and writing anyway. I would write my diary in Polish as well. I would go to extra classes as well. So there's lots of things that you can do to help you cope with it. And yeah, when it comes to bullying and people laughing at you for not knowing a certain word or certain things, I think, first of all, they're awful people, but yeah, you just have to learn to cope with it and stand up for yourself and be proud because you are a superhero. And I wish I could say that to myself back when I was younger. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this made any sense and it wasn't just me being, oh, my life is so sad, my life is so difficult. That is not what I'm doing. I'm just trying to share a little bit of ways that I struggled maybe as a teenager and how I coped with it. I hope you saw that and yeah, and understood what I mean. If there's any more questions, shoot, you can write them in the comments below, and or message me on Instagram as well. The link is down in the description below if you want to know more about what I think are some pros and cons of being bilingual. You can also check the link in the description below. And I also have 3 videos of British in Poland part 1, 2 and 3. My perspective, my mum's perspective and my dad's perspective. I've had a few interesting comments below as well on those videos because some people are like, oh, I don't agree with you. There's nothing to agree with, honey, because these are our own opinions and how we experienced it. So, I mean, you can say whatever you want to, but I would love to read your comments anyway. And yeah, let me know if you are thinking of bringing up your children bilingual, or if you are bilingual and have similar experiences and can relate to me, because that would mean the world to me if I could feel like I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one, but it's nice to hear it as well. So yeah, I hope to hear from you soon and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye for now.